call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Lou, Rex, Pam, Naomi, Afasiana, Babbler, Monarch Soul, Jojo, Grey Eyes, fill my eyes. Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shift, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dough dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the parts, ink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. In the yard, a seduction walks soft through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen up the ache. Gets a voice, pain stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way. When the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, oh hun, the fear. That thing with no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart. And rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is a pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel. This is breath to the backbone, ink for the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom. The line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, when the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello and welcome to Break On Through. Here you can travel realms uncharted, blur the lines, break the chains, open yourself to possibilities waiting to be discovered on the other side. I am Pam Ray, and with me is my co-host Intimitus Rex. Rex and I are poets on a website called All Poetry with a group of poets called Late Night Poets. If you find that tonight's show is not your cup of tea, please check out our other shows. We have 1 to 2 shows per night on a variety of styles of topics and poetry, something to suit everybody's taste. Also, make sure when you get a chance to check out the poetry anthologies put out by Late Night Poets, because when you purchase those on Amazon, you not only get amazing poetry, you help support these radio shows. And hello, Rex. How goes it?
All right, what's up?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Another warm day, another inside day. I have to say, I was just, you know how you just have some of those days where you're just tired? So, like, basically, the most productive I got today was getting 2 loads of laundry washed and dried. Otherwise, it was, sleeping, reading poetry, sleeping again, watching videos. I mean, it was just one of those days. But, I'm, of course, looking forward to hanging out with you and other cool poets. So, how about you? How's your weather treating you? Did it keep you inside getting things done, or did it keep you outside?
Both. 89, a little windy.
Oh, okay. Sometimes depending on how the wind feels, it can kind of be refreshing on a warm day. But if it gets too hot, it just feels like you're standing inside a giant a hair dryer. So, yeah. So we got a great lineup of poetry tonight. I have rights from 2 different contests. I have poetry inspired by the artwork of Marcel Nino Pajot. Now, I do apologize. I meant to look up how to pronounce that. It's spelled Pajot, and I know sometimes the J can be pronounced like a Y or an H. And I also meant to have the page pulled up with some information about him. I got to look that up. And oh my goodness gracious. All right, let me look this up. Marcel Nino Pajot. What can we learn about him? He is a French painter and book illustrator, born in 1945 in Vert d'Orgon, France. He is considered a self-taught artist who developed his drawing skills through informal exchange with other amateur artists. He is known over the years. He has become known for his figurative style, richly colored, detailed works, and a distinctive blend of humor, lyricism, and sometimes mystery. So I know with him being French, I am definitely not quite getting the accent of the last name right. So I do apologize for that. I definitely noticed, like, one of the things that really drew me to his artwork that I noticed was the fact that it does have a quite a bit of humor to it, especially making fun of the wealthy class. Um, Also, quite a few of his artworks actually have are paintings done inspired by Don Quixote from Cervantes, and um, I see the elements of the humor, the satire, the putting people in almost both awkward and dreamlike scenarios. I definitely enjoy the colors used in his artwork, very bold. I highly recommend anybody who has not checked out his artwork, make sure to check that out. It is to me, it's fascinating. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to run a contest for it, and you know, see in which direction it inspired people. Um, that did not get a huge amount of rights. So I also ran a second contest, which was a pre-rights contest. And I think that one I could have made even bigger. I made for only 12 spots, and I could have made it bigger because it was getting great responses. And it was simply on the topic of paper airplanes. That idea I came up with because sometime not too long ago was National Paper Airplane Day, and I did not run the contest exactly on that day, but I thought, that could be interesting. That could be interesting because it's something you can take either literally or metaphorically. Um, and I got both uh, new and pre-writes that fit very well with the topic. So honestly, I think there's just some amazing poetry lined up for tonight. So we'll start out with rights inspired by Marcel Nino Pajot, or how would you pronounce that last name, Rex?
Or maybe Pijou.
Pijou. Oh, that would make sense. Yes, yes, with the being French, of course, of course. Thank you very much. And yeah, so um, with that being said, we can go ahead and get this ball rolling.
All
What
right,
do
you
we
got
have up for?
Ongoing Insomnia by Julie Buck, and that one's yours.
All right. Let me just do a couple of clicks and all right. Ongoing Insomnia by Julie Buck. Ongoing insomnia, I scorn food till I can hear me some truth. A reading fool, like addicted to whiskey, I won't stop drinking words, 'cause I solicit nonfiction. In my old fictitious life, I'm down to bone and saggy skin, looking at you, looking at me, and my white beard and nightshirt body thin. A moron for losing sleep and waiting for a handful of honesty. My wooden shack in France is where I sit, where I lose, where one day a hammer of hunger will stop banging on my head and facts will fall onto my lap. And perhaps then, and only then, I can eat and go to bed. End poem. And your thoughts, Rex?
Um, well, by the picture, because he's got a lance there, which is typically a knight's angle. So maybe the back end of life, he's questioning the life he's led, and he's looking for some truth. And I guess the book he's kind of reading into would be I suppose, a good book, but something's not quite clicking right. So he's losing sleep over it. He's fasting because he wants to hit that right mental note of seeing beyond the veil of what is, and maybe he's questioning the note of where he might be going upon death, because he is quite aged. So, be that thought that hits on everybody when they come to a certain point in life. So, have I done enough to partake that stairway to heaven, or will I rush the new elevator down straight to hell?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Great observations. Yeah, this is one of the paintings, and there was quite a few of them that featured Don Quixote. This one, you only know it's Don Quixote because if you look at the other paintings that feature him, like I have one where he's actually on the horse and holding the lance. But here you know it's him because of the hat and the lance. But otherwise, it could just look like a typical, like a really old man. Um, and it's interesting. I always appreciate paintings where the character is looking back at you as if, and Julie catches that really well with the lines, looking at you, looking at me, and my white bearded nightshirt, body thin. I also like that within this right, it speaks on the idea of um, somebody starving themselves in order to gain enlightenment, in order to, as you were saying, see things in a different realm, in a different way. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting because I think Julie really taps into the theme of Don Quixote. With this first person narrative, while taking a look at people who will physically and emotionally basically kill themselves in order to get the answers that they are seeking. So wonderful write by Julie Buck and very well done.
All right.
And back to you, Rex.
Three little words, boy weaver of dreams. You got a SoundCloud.
Yes, we do. All right. Do, do, do.
If you try to hide from me, you will fail. Your fetid breath eddies o'er the waves, heralding the dawn of this your demise. There will be no more evasions or delays. That you, my brother, could serve me thus, stabs me to my core, tears wide my heart. She is my lady, my life, the centre, my sun. With your 3 words you cleaved it apart. Carried on the wind, full of pain, was a voice. Brother, how could you believe this of me? Blood of my blood, she said the 3 words that, now you are aware of it, can set you free. All my strength left me as I slipped from my horse. A scream ripped my throat. It could not be true. Yet she had changed, become distant and cold. I believed she had said the words, I love you.
Wonderful reading right there, Kate. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. And just a reminder, everyone, if you're unable to call in, the next best thing is to make a recording of your poem because then we get to hear your poetry in your voice or how you would like it to be presented. And your thoughts, Rex?
Well, yeah, the conflict binds. He believes, because of what she said, he believes it was the brother that set this terminus to effect. And yet he fully turns around and said, "No, it wasn't me, brother. How could you think that of me? It was she who uttered those words." So kind of bites that notion of whom do you believe? blood of blood or the one that you love, because either way, it's all coming apart at the seams.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. A great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I thought, I felt like this was a poem that connects well to the artwork and yet stands on its own. I really feel like what Weaver did is captured the sadness in this image. This is one with Don Quixote on the riding the horse, and it's with the lance. The thing is it the thing that makes it most sad to me is that if you compare this painting to the other artists' paintings, um, there is definitely a lot more gray, a lot more subtle color, which I think adds to the sad atmosphere that Weaver definitely caught. There is some wonderful rhyme and flow in this, great imagery. I feel like um, that it's the last two stanzas really bring in the emotional impact. And for me, it becomes that he said, she said, because I guess because to me, I see it as his brothers telling him and saying, how could you believe this of me? Like, how could you believe that I would do this when, she's the one that said the words. And then at the end, it says in the person's voice who's the narrator, I believe she had said the words, I love you. So it wasn't confirmed, and she very well could have. And I think Weaver does that on purpose to kind of leave you on the edge wondering, is this all something on the brother's part? Is it all something on the wife's part? Or are they both, you know, in on this together? And you don't really know exactly who is lying because you're only hearing a partial side. So this definitely is a great atmospheric dark piece by Weaver of Dreams, and very well done.
All right, we've got Brewster and Elsie Live It Up by, wait, no, we didn't, do we? Is that the next one, or am I going a bit far? No, we're right, okay. Brewster and Elsie Live It Up by Monty G. 25. Bugger me every time, Bruce. Every bloody time you get loose. Can't go nowhere without hitting the squirt. We dress up fancy like, but our standard is dirt. I don't know why I bother asking you in the first place. You start okay, and before long, you're a waste of space. Come on, Elsie, give us a fair go. You're too tense. You're always being Devo. We don't want. We don't have to be like the other toffee tops, the ones with the la-di-da puffed up hair mops. I'm not here to prove anything to these cheap fakes. We're better than those mashed up fried potato bakes. What you reckon? Let's hit the floor. Come on, doll. We can show 'em what for. We just better hope they don't call the cops or find out we're just a pair of dinkin' Aussie flops. Dressed to the levels to show 'em some specky glam. Who gives a flying fig if we look like mutton dressed as lamb? Crikey, the pigs are here today, and Arthur Flip is pointing 'em our way. Looks like we just might be getting the chop. A night in the clink with a brekkie of yesterday's slop. These knuckles don't know how to have a laugh or two. Nah, they look more like a sad version of Skippy the kangaroo. Come on, Brewster, let's not wait until the feds crack the shits. It's bad enough that you're bloody blind pissed to bits. You bloody gala, I wrecked 'em, they'll be here in a jiffy, and our chances of getting away are looking iffy. Geez, Brewster, you're like a half-cut kangaroo bouncing around a billabong devo for a poo. Sorry, Elsie, you know dinkum piss makes me crook. Anyways, you're no better, you stupid old chook. Geez, I reckon I'm about to have a chuck, and I can tell you don't give it rhymes with chuck. Dead set, I'm truly sorry about the spew. You know what else, Elsie? I really do love you. And boom.
Oh my goodness gracious, this is great. And what a wonderful read here, Rex. I was figuring that when I started this contest, that because of some of the humor in the artwork, this would be right up Monty's alley. I enjoy the back and forth of the two characters. I like the way this makes fun of the fashion of the rich, with the mutton dress, and the use of Aussie slang is just clever and fun. I bet JoJo would enjoy reading this poem. And I also like the message in here of feeling like you don't belong. Like it's basically like two like down to earth average people trying to disguise themselves as the haughty toddy and rich to do people and trying to fit in, but that just ain't going to happen. I mean, it's like the idea of putting a fancy dress on a pig, not a policeman, but also not, like just putting dresses on pigs and sending them into the ballroom. Although in some cases that might work, but in this case it did not. But it also makes fun, to me, it makes fun of people who are trying to show off their wealth. Um, and I just think there's just so much funny lines throughout. And it's interesting. I have to say, it's interesting that pigs is also an Aussie slang term for policeman, because I know in this area it's a slang term for policeman. I don't know about other parts of the country. Um, but lots of clever, fun lines. But man, I really did like those last two stanzas, and especially, sorry, Elsie, drinkling piss makes me crook. Anyways, you're no better, you stupid old chook. Geez, I reckon I'm about to have a chuck, and I can tell you about you don't give a rhymes with Chuck. Great lines by Monty G. Great inspiration taken from the chosen artwork, and very well done. And Rex, you did a great read of that. Your thoughts?
Well, I like the biteness. She wants a fair chance at the digging into this upper crusty life. So he takes her. She takes him, or rather, but she knows better and knows it's really not going to work out their way. But she's got to go anyway. Got to give it a chance. And he doesn't really care. He gets a little looped, and he doesn't really care what these people are all about, who and what they think they are. It doesn't matter. He's going to have a good time no matter what. I like that boat. Uh, Crikey, the pigs are here today, and Arthur Flip is pointing them our way. Looks like we just might be getting the chop, a night in the clink, with the brekkie of yesterday's slop. These knuckles don't know how to have a laugh or two. Nah, they look more like a sad version of Skippy the kangaroo. I like that. And and then almost the idea of almost apologetic, but you know what? Hell with it. We are who we are, even if we've got a little bit of money to break into this crowd. We don't really belong with uh, this drift of demagoguery. If we can't be
Right.
ourselves, then what's the bloody point?
Well said there, Rex. Great comment. Monty says, "I'll make a great Aussie. I'll make a good Aussie out of you yet, Rex." Great read. Ah, and what do we got next, Rex?
Boodum, boodum. We've got Music of My Mind by Way Down Upon Joy.
All right. Just got to do a couple things. All right. The music of my mind by Way Down Upon Joy. A cacophony of cultured times that waltzed me through my days, the gypsies of my music halls, all sharing well played ways. So now the violins still drift, the notes those fingers choose to leave their lively lucidness, perhaps like painted pose. And then the strummers of the beat that tested strength of strings and how their echoes coalesced, that joy that suchness brings. The old bassoon that often crooned an ode to innocence, with alto sounds so well attuned to changing inner sense. Then came the rock that often rolled through hills of years now past, until they filled what now stands bold in current mind that's vast, and art and music make the muse that trolls perception's place, retracing all the who's of who's while dancing wondrous space. End poem. This is just absolutely a delight to read. I have to say, Rex, this seems right up your alley with your knowledge and love for music. And your thoughts.
Well, she's biting. Well, picture's pretty good, but she's running that note of through the ages, especially with the cacophony of cultured times. So it speaks not just to the picture itself, because she does roll into the because you got the old bassoon, you got the alto sounds so well attuned, and then came the rock that often rolled. So she's rolling down a note of history and the uh, uh, the culture and the times that get changed with the music and how they all roll together. The art and music make the muse that trolls perception's place, retracing all of the who's of who's while dancing wondrous space. So it's a kick to the art and the music holding a certain note in history that walks the idea of how things change, how things progress, and you move into new arenas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I love the inspiration that she got from the artwork. Um, and the particular artwork she chose was called Requiem por Casanova, which I assume means Requiem for the Casanova, but I could be wrong. Um, and I actually did not know the name of that painting. I should have. I should look up names of paintings that I use, but I tend not to put them in my contest only because, well, I just don't want people to just be influenced by the name of the painting. You know, I want them to look at the artwork itself. And I feel that's what Joy did. She really looked at the artwork. um Beautiful rhyme and flow. You know, her metered rhyme is just so always spot on. Wonderful imagery. I love how this speaks on the magic of music, how it's something that brings joy and healing to the mind, and how it echoes throughout time, how it's always been an important part of history, and then also how it can change our perspective, you know, and great use of alliteration with lively lucidness and paint, perhaps to leave their lively lucidness, perhaps like painted pose. Wonderful use of alliteration. But yeah, I really like this all the way through, but especially those last few lines. Until they filled what now stands bold in current mind that's vast, and art and music make the muse that trolls perceptions past, retracing all the who's of who's while dancing wondrous space. Wonderful lines and beautifully written by Way Down Upon Joy. All right, Rex, back to you.
Got My Syllabus by Ed Hunter. Nature, The gentlest and wildest impatient child, storms, unpredictable power, dynamics too climactically wild. Mountains, rising robust rocks heeding to where angels may flock. The forest, dark and deep, where rodents run from the fox. Windows, the looking glass we see, but do we perceive? Doors, a throughway, but only one way in that we conceive. Our mind, comprehensive, intelligent matter, we only use little. Thought, to understand the importance of the day's riddle. Why? To continue without destruction. Life, is our future's reproduction in the end, or is it the end? And both.
Great read here, stumbling over my words. Great read there, Rex. Oh, this is quite a fun write by Ed Hunter. I feel like he too captured some of the humor in the artwork because anybody who isn't looking at this painting, it's not only that the old man is reading a book and looking back at you, but he has his nightgown lifted up, so I imagine he's, I don't know, I get the impression he's airing out his wiggly giblets or something like that. Um, and, like he just got caught airing them out. But, oh my gosh. And there's like just really clever lines throughout this. Um, and I like how this, again, I like the reference to perception, the mention of the door, windows and doors. A window's the looking glass we see, but do we perceive? Doors, a throughway, but only one way in that we conceive. That's great lines. But there's great lines all the way through. And I don't know. I feel like this pokes fun at humanity and how we're not seeing the big picture. We're not seeing the doors that we can walk through. We're keeping ourselves at a stalemate. And especially with the end lines with why to continue without destruction. Life is our future reproduction in the end, or is it the end? Very clever lines and very well done by Ed Hunter. And your thoughts, Rex?
Um, the questions. Do we actually understand the note of questions, that riddle that walks the day, so to speak? Why are we here? And what are we supposed to do while we're here, so to speak? I do like that middle stanza. Windows. The looking glass we see, but do we perceive? Doors, a throughway, but only one way in that we conceive. The idea of, because you got that mirror behind him, but do we actually see what we see in the mirror, or is it just a note of mind, what we see, what we want to see? And the idea of the doors, a throughway, but only one way in, that depends on which side of the door you are on. Are you on the outside looking to go in, or are you on the inside looking to go out? So the door has two ways of walking through, but then again, it also walks to that note of which doors are you actually adhere to or looking toward. And uh, our mind, comprehensive, intelligent matter, we only use a little thought to understand the importance of the day's riddle. There's truth in that we only use a little. It's something like 10% of the brain is used as a matter of uh, necessary function. Um, and that note, why to continue without destruction? So bends to that note. Without destruction, yet we create destruction in order to move forward. So, is our future's reproduction bends that question to the last angle in the end, or is it the end? Have we gone as far as we come, and will we be the noted modifiers of our own destruction, or will we learn in the end and perceive a little bit more than what the thought of the doors actually means in the moment?
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, I had to look up the word syllabus. I mean, I know it's a common word. It's one I've heard often, but I just wasn't 100% sure on the meaning. A summary outline of a discourse, treatise, or course of study or of examination requirements. So there you go. If anybody was like me and knew the word syllabus but wasn't quite sure what it meant, well, there you go. Um, all right. Now, what do we got next, Rex?
Boisterous Bon Vivants by Eric Svensson. And you got SoundCloud.
Yes, we do. Oh, I love that title. That is great. All right. Posting a couple things. Do. All right. Now I'm going to go grab that SoundCloud.
Boisterous bon vivants. Boisterous bon vivants procure petite modes and pedicures, tassels, titbits, and gastronomic anomalies. Epicurean delight oogled, ballroom blitz aburst with busy beehive buzz. Jazz and jive, mon chéri, drunk on exuberance, elegance becomes dishevelled extravagance. Scarlet gowns splash out, sultry lace becomes black widow webs. Cockle gents, concave caricatures, and haute couture, foxy faux pas in demented red herring chases, verve, nerve, and virtuoso viscosity. Feel the pulse, see the hum, arrested on timeless canvas. Rebellious paint pigments, anagram telegram, mesdames, mesdemoiselles, et messieurs, ample rosy bon vivant bonbon bosoms on display, chins up, crystal glasses clink clink over cheeky chinkirinchi flowers. Controlled cajole bolero builds up to crescendo crash later. Don't be a drag, messieurs. Rather take a drag on this fag. Faux pas, run of the mill. Abstain not from the green devil. Absence will lubricate all cuckold muscles. Open up wide, slip slide, down your lubricious throat the oyster glides. Become the musky mask, while I set your cage corset drawstrings free. Fraternize, don't chastise. Humdrum ha, life is such a ball, isn't it? Tisk, tisk, we peacocks do paradise, no inferno, mon chéri. End poem.
Wonderful read and write there, Eric. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. Oh, I really enjoyed how much fun Eric seemed to have with this write. And your thoughts, Rex?
He had way too much fun with us. Yeah. You can bite on that note of an eyes wide shut motif or a Hellfire Club motif because you got a boisterous bon vivants procure petite morts and pedicures tassels titbits and gastronomic anomalies. I like that note for the tidbits. The idea of indulging in everything, taking on all seven sins and not worrying a tiny bit about any of them, because this night we will engage in all of them. Because he bites into it. You got the sultry lace becomes black widow webs. You got cockle gents, concave caricatures, and haute couture, and foxy faux passe, and demented red herring chases. Red herring chases, and he uh, the faux pas. He went with passe. I say, hey, you know what? Bugger the faux pas because they are passe, so to speak. Let's have uh, a right good time running this gamut of food, sex, and whatever the hell we want to get into. Because you gotta, let's see, abstain not from the green devil. Absinthe will lubricate all cuckold muscles. Open up wide, slip slide down your lubricious throat, the oyster glides. Become the musky mask while I set your cage corset drawstrings free. There's a whole lot in there. Double entendre bites. And then fraternize, don't chastise. Humdrum ha, life is such a bore, isn't it? Tis. We paracox de paradiso, no inferno, mon cher. I like that. Yeah. We is the bee's knees and we're having some fun.
Yep, exactly. Great comment, Rex. Oh yeah, you can tell he had this whole lot of fun with this. Great wordplay, great use of alliteration. As you said, Rex, these wonderful double entendres. These are people who just they love their food, they love their drink. They're living life to the fullest. Um, and I just think there's such wonderful lines throughout. But I did especially like where it says, rebellious paint pigments, anagram, telegram, mesdames, mademoiselles, et messieurs, ample rosy bon vivant, bonbon bosoms on display, chins up, crystal glasses, clink link over cheery chickinachi flowers. And oh my gosh, I could keep going. There's just so many great lines, like the nod to abstain not from the green devil. Absinthe will lubricate all cuckold muscles. Words of wisdom, if I ever read them. And the whole idea of just don't be all humdrum, live life to the fullest, and just absolutely just have fun and go for it, give in to your wild desires. So excellent write by Eric Svensson, and very well done. All right.
You've got More Wenner by Captain Kerr, and you've got a SoundCloud for that too.
Yes, we do. 3 SoundClouds tonight. Love it. And I look forward to nights when we get even more. All right.
Coat and feathered ruff, her tattered velvet shorn and rough. She drops a card in hollow clay to sweep the hope of men away. Oh, the wages set in Venice all at Baroque, Rococo's masquerade ball within heart an ancient spell. Only strings his lute can quell. To find the ace, her love is won before the chambered waltz is done.
She leans to the ceramic rim to cast a darkness aimed at him. She whispers low in cooling fire these binding words to kill desire.
Clay of earth and ace of dark, shall he win my cauldron heart? I bind the card to kill inflamed walls while I dance around these halls. Loose of rhythm, love ablaze, will I bend beneath his gaze. The urn begins to pulse and glow. She starts to dance soft and slow. Corvus finds the major key, the song, the strings to set her free. In Venice Hall at Baroque, Rococo's masquerade ball. Within her heart an ancient spell. Only strings his lute can quell. To find the ace, her love is won before the chambered waltz is done. He strikes the chord's harmonic rise to meet the curse in Moena's eyes. He fills the room with velvet sound, lifting all who touch the ground.
Lute of rhythm, love ablaze, bring to me the ace of spades. For love of her, her witchy pride, for love of her to be my bride.
In the cavern of the hollow, let each note now fill and follow, until my love outgrows this space, and on my song uplifts the ace.
The card begins to float and rise past Moena's naked eyes.
The spell is broken, her face unmasked, the crimson red to marry the witch in black.
For the love of Moena,
My lute will play. My ace of spades.
my ace of spades. Hoy pinto la sua mano, la mano vincente.
More buena, more buena.
My Moena, my Moena.
My more buena.
Wonderful music choice to put your lyrics to, Captain Kerr. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. And Rex, your thoughts?
It's a hell of a tale, kind of rolling out in that note of the form of a play, stage play. It tells a story, and it rolls within that note of as you go, a masquerade ball in Venice back in the day, and you kept your mask on all night long until a certain hour, and then the mask would come off, and you'd find out who was who. It hits that. What that here was kind of hits that idea of the Black Witch, her Moena, being the where was it? I saw that. Oh, there it is. The card begins to float and rise past Morwenna's naked eyes. The spell is broken, her face unmasked, the crimson rent to marry the witch in black. So kind of a love tale with the two of them doing a kind of dance and battle in the moment between her magic and his want. And eventually he outlasts her to the point where, hey, I've played the game right, Morwenna, and you're mine. So I like that. It's very cleverly done, and I like the music was great for this. Had that nice little ancient flair to it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment, Rex. Yeah, I really enjoyed the dramatic back and forth that the in the lyrics and how the music highlighted that. I did look up the name Morwenna, which to see if that gave me any insight. I did find out that the name Morwenna originates from Cornish and Welsh Celtic language, is derived from the elements of Mor, meaning sea, and Gwen, meaning white or fair or blessed. With the poetic interpretation of being of white sea, blessed sea maiden, or sea wave. In some sources, it is also linked to the old Cornish word moroin, meaning maiden or gal. And the only famous Morwenna I could find was a Morwenna is the eponymous patron saint of Morwenstow, a civil parish and village in North Cornwall, UK. And apparently she lived in the 6th century. Where did she come from? Yeah, she's from the 6th century, and she was a saint, not for just this one single town. So, there's a well. There's within not far from the church of Saint Morwenna, there's the Well House of the Holy that was named after her. So doesn't really give insight into the rite, but I still found it interesting. Man, this is beautifully written with its rhyme and flow. It captures the dramatic elements of the artwork. In this case, this particular painting, in a lot of these paintings, the people are dressed like they're attending a carnival, with the masquerade or a masquerade ball. And this is a woman dressed like a witch who's asking a guy to pick a card, and she's dropping a card behind her into a giant clay pot. And in the picture, it seems as if he's noticing that. And I think that Captain Kerr grabbed that element from the artwork and made it all his own, made it this back and forth where love becomes a battle of wits. I really like where it says, clay of earth and ace of dark, shall he win my cauldron heart? I bind the card to kiln flamed walls while I dance around these halls, lute of rhythm, love ablaze. Will I bend beneath his gaze? I like how there's that element of a chant within those lines. And I also really like where it says, for the love of Morwenna, my lute will play. For the love of Morwenna, my ace of spades. And just wonderful lines. This is really somebody who is persistent on winning the heart of a woman who seems to want to get away, or doesn't want to be won over. So wonderful write by Captain Kerr, and very well done. And back to you, Rex.
Blaze and Ashes by Angela Aquino.
All right. Grab that. And I see we have Robbie and in the room. So hello, Robbie. Good to see you. And all right. All right. Blaze and Ashes by Angela Aquino. All dolled up for an evening of fun. How lucky, she thought, an invitation in the contour of a secret society. That was her excitement. Now it is her regret. The champagne kissing slowly with every sip, the magic of the music entering the skin, vibrations of a cello, deep lows and highs. The paintings come alive on the wall. She meets her host, dressed in full attire, red as flames and veiled in mystery. He compliments her on her lovely strawberry hair and her black dress dipped perfectly in desire. He silently craves his next passion on on a canvas and asks if she would give him a moment of fantasy. Blushing, she lets the night ignite her. No answer to the question, lost in its kindling fire. How wonderful of a night, until a shade of white, a dried up old coal pastel stands by her, and the last memory of the room turned noir silence, then morning. She wakes up to a thank you note and a gift of one painting in her own ivory skin. End poem. And your thoughts, Rex?
Well, it got walks in that note of be careful what you wish for. The idea of getting an invitation to a secret society and what you find therein. I like the painting as it is. She goes with that note of champagne kissing slowly with every sip, the magic of music entering through the skin, vibrations of cello, deep lows and highs. The paintings came alive on the walls. Now, there's a dip into surreal, but also maybe a note of a little bit of drugging as well. If the paintings come alive on the walls, then kind of you're seeing a bit more than you're actually supposed to see in the moment. The host standing right next to her, dressed in full attire, red as flames and veiled in mystery. There's another hint back to that secret society note, and the idea of, yeah, you're excited what you might find and see this night, but somewhere along the way you're going to regret. And so he makes that noted thought to of complimenting her, then asking if she would indulge him in some fantasy. Uh, well, apparently she's dipped a bit too much into whatever that was in that champagne to begin with, and that note of how wonderful of the night, until a shade of white, a dried up coal pastel stands beside her. So the kind of the ghost of last night. That ghost could be, yeah, yeah, might do want to do that walk of shame, so to speak. And the last memory of the room turned noir silence, then morning. That cold idea of, oh, blacking out. And she wakes up to a thank you note and a gift of one painting in her own ivory skin. I like this because you look at that painting. The redhead in the picture kind of morphs out as her, but also her hand kind of rolls up to that one face that's sitting low. It's kind of a noted look of wickedness in that guy's eyes. Plus, he looks a little like Rasputin. So, yeah, you might have made a big mistake this evening because you don't know what you really got into.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, this is a particularly clever painting. I really like how this artist, Marcel Nino Pajot, has his characters in his paintings interacting. Like in this one, they're actually looking at a painting that is very much in his style. So it's as if the characters he paints is studying one of his paintings and realizing, oh, hey, That's us. Um, and yeah, the ending has me thinking that either she indulged a little too much or a roofie was slipped into her drink. Now I don't know what would have been used as roofies during the what appears to be like the 1400s, or I'm not sure the exact time period, but you know,
Opium,
and
laudanum.
what's that?
Opium, laudanum.
Oh, yes, that would, yes, opium, that would make sense. Yes, absolutely, of course. But yeah, this is a great storytelling, right? Wonderful imagery. I like how it does speak on that. The ending definitely gives it a dark twist. Like at first, it seems to be well, except for this one line that says, that was her excitement, now it is her regret. So definitely there's a forewarning. And then it does go into the idea of living out your fantasies, living out your erotic fantasies, only to wake up, then at the end to feel the regret, and the regret being that this wasn't just a moment shared between two people, but it was a moment forever immortalized within a painting. So excellent write by Angela Aquino, and very well done. And back to you, Rex.
In his mum's back bedroom in Bognor Regis by Time Teller. From his mum's back bedroom, somewhere in Bognor Regis, he seems to speak more sense than radio, which seems to chop and change his views with the fashion of what's popular. But it's okay to change one's mind. We know that. I'm sure from his mum's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis, he knows that. We all knew he was going to fail because he made that ridiculous election promise. Should he go? No, says the man, or boy, as you called him, living in his mum's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis. At least you both agree on that, don't you? Now the other radios say Lucy is guilty, but he has gone quiet over this topic this last year. Maybe his adamant stance eroded by doubt. Who knows? I'm guessing a boy, guy, man in his mum's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis does know. Because, unlike the PM and you, who failed to listen to all those people being interviewed saying they wouldn't mind income tax going up, he, the non-expert, no hoper in his mum's back bedroom in Bognor Regis, did pay attention to all those BBC morning interviews in the streets. More than any radio noise that simply compares its following daily and causes polarized thinking, he repeatedly asking the same questions in different formats, while protesting that they are merely asking this, knowing all the time that people will end up saying that, which of course they themselves can't say. That's what the guy in his mum's back bedroom in Bognor Regis says, anyway. Then there's that other guy, boy, man, in a mum's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis. You make him out to be a racist because he doesn't agree with you or still believes the polarized views that the radio itself has caused. All I can say is, thank God Bognor Regis has a beach with beautiful sands and wonderful people who on the beach lay in the sun listening to a radio that plays music, the food of love, while your variety spices things up. And poem.
Great read there, Rex. This is a wonderfully clever write by Time Teller. Now, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about the region he's writing about. I don't recognize all the names that he's referencing, so that will require a little research in my part. But I feel like I can relate to the general vibe of this. I feel like, first of all, it focuses on the idea that everybody with an opinion has a podcast. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. There's nothing wrong with changing your opinion. But the other thing it does is I feel like it pokes at people. It has a sardonic bite that pokes at people that make fun of the common people, the everyday working man and woman. Um, like I feel like this is how like people who they get so high and mighty with voicing their opinions that they don't see what the what people truly want. They don't connect with people anymore. And it becomes all about, well, let me just air my views rather than trying to see both sides. I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like, should he go? No, says that manor boy, as you called him, living in his mom's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis. At least you both agree on that, don't you? Now, the other radios say Lucy is guilty, but he has gone quiet over his topic this last year. Maybe his adamant stance eroded by doubt. Who knows? I'm guessing a boy, guy, man in his mom's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis does know. It's interesting how quickly people will fade away when they realize that they no longer have ground to stand on. So, excellent right by Time Teller and very well done. And your thoughts, Rex?
You got to read his explanation in the back end of this. Apparently, there's a guy on the radio station who actually uses Bognor Regis as part of the shtick within his voice. That from some boy, guy, man in his mum's back bedroom in Bognor Regis. It gives that note of the idea of Bognor Regis sounds foreign. It also sounds like an unreal place, but the idea of some boy, man, guy in his mum's back bedroom offers that note of uh, um, uh, the Looney Tune, the one who can't, who's on the dole or is so far gone that he can't survive outside of his mom's back bedroom. So he's got to live at home, and it might be a boy, might be a guy, might be a man. So you get that offering of whoever they want to be today, and he's making using it as a put down to anybody and anything that he's rolling out a heady note of response to. So it's easy for that idea, just like over here, it would be the guy who lives, the boy who lives in the basement in his mom's house. Here, it's the back bedroom, and that note of Bognor Regis. I can hear him saying, uh, from, then there's that other guy, boy, man, in the mom's back bedroom somewhere in Bognor Regis. Kind of he rolls him out as a racist, rolls him out as a a chutney piece of fruit, rolls him out as the half-wit inbred imbecile. So he can use it as an epithet on anything and everybody, and the idea of Bognor Regis gives it some clout because that Regis kind of hits on the idea of something regal, something strong, something from yesteryear that used to hold some strength, and the Bognor kind of hits on that. Yeah, well, it can't be a pretty place, can it? Except he does offer in his AN notes that actually Bognor Regis has quite the healthy beach and is a vibrant place full of many very good people. So, but it doesn't. Hey, why doesn't he say Knightsbridge, Kensington, Chiswick, or better still Putney? Well, they don't have that noted thought of Bognor Regis, not Knightsbridge or Kensington. They're too plain and simple in the moment. Bognor has quite a ring to it. So, yeah, use it, abuse it, and you never really come up with your own views because you're not allowed to offer up your own views. So you make fun of everyone else's.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said there, Rex. Yeah, I did appreciate and enjoy that he added that information into his AN. So very cool. Very cool. All right. And what do we have next, Rex?
We have Beautiful Disaster by Jody Melton. And that was you.
All right. Beautiful Disaster by Jody Melton. Beneath chandeliers dripping gold, like heaven had melted into crystals, the orchestra kept playing for people too broken to hear it. Women in silk leaned across the table like wilted roses after a storm, their lipstick stained on wine glasses like evidence of promises nobody intended to keep. Men laughed too loudly, that desperate kind of laughter people use when silence would force them to meet themselves. And somewhere between the violins and the clinking of silverware, you could feel it, the exhaustion of pretending, a ballroom full of beautiful disasters. One woman danced barefoot in red heels. Another stared into her champagne as if memory floated at the bottom of it. A man collapsed into velvet sleeves, drunk on loneliness more than liquor. The room glowed amber and magnificent, yet every soul inside it looked one breath away from falling apart. I imagine they arrived believing this night would save them, that music could resurrect their dead love, that expensive clothes could disguise empty hearts, that being surrounded by bodies meant they would not feel alone. But sorrow has a way of finding us anyway, even beneath chandeliers, even while violins sing, especially then, because the cruelest loneliness is not the kind found in empty rooms. It is the kind discovered in crowded places where everyone is performing happiness for strangers, a fictional tale of a lie agreed upon. And still, there is something painfully human here. The way they continue dancing despite the ache, the way the orchestra refuses to stop, the way broken people still reach for beauty even while unraveling. Maybe that is what this painting means. Not decadence, not celebration, but humanity itself, a magnificent catastrophe dressed in elegance, raising another glass while the heart quietly collapses behind the curtain of light. End poem. What an amazing write by Jody Melton. And your thoughts, Rex?
Oh, I like where Jody took this, that bite of turning this into um, something else other than what the picture demands in the moment. That you find the debauchery laid bare, so to speak. This kind of walks that angle of the need of people to give themselves the premise uh, being alive, yet they're kind of empty and shallow. So in order to feel that lively angle, they uh, they get together and perform as a note to themselves, and as a note to those around them. Hey, because he bites at that note of what was he got? One woman danced barefoot in red heels. There's a big contradiction in that, but I like it. A man collapsed in the velvet sleeves, drunk on loneliness more than liquor. Uh, Room glowed amber and magnificent, yet every soul inside it looked one breath away from falling apart. Yeah, the evolution of wanting to feel something yet not being able to because they are empty and soulless, so to speak. So I like that, but the angle of this, maybe that is what this painting means. Not decadence, not celebration, but humanity itself, a magnificent catastrophe dressed in elegance, raising another glass while the heart quietly collapses behind the curtain of light. Because of shallowness, their emptiness, they don't have the capacity to properly feel unless they are indulging in whatever in the moment. And even in that, it just expands and expounds upon that loneliness.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, this is a wonderful take on the chosen prompt. Amazing imagery, thoughtful lines. I like how he takes a look at the individual people. He looks at them individually, but he looks at the whole. The idea that these are people, as you were saying, Rex, they're coming together, they're trying to cover up their loneliness. They're trying to cover up their shallowness, and they don't want people to see what's happening inside them. I also like how this gives a look at how painful it is to be human. How so oftentimes we feel judged by society if we are honest about how much we are physically and emotionally hurting. Um, and I think there's great lines throughout, but I especially like, because the cruelest loneliness is not the kind found in empty rooms, it is the kind discovered in crowded places where everyone is performing happiness for strangers, a fictional tale of a lie agreed upon. And still, there is something painfully human here. Wonderful lines, beautifully written, and very well done by Jody Melton. All right, and what do we got next, Rex?
Unrequited but not by Bard's words. The thinnest thing and how it lives might seem a mystery, a veiled wisp of skin and bones behind a design of tension and anxiety. The nerve persists, the architecture of survival. The memory rests on a heart whittled down to nerve, eating up again all those days you served up verbs. The mystery of the thinnest thing might, I suppose, one day die. Until then, unrequited love, your return, a delusion feeds, a hopeless happiness. And the sun rises while the roads they ramble to destinations fixed, firmly set in mind. But they go and go, minding stops for weary travelers, just not men such as I. I suppose unrequited road, no such thing, for it returns, unlike the love I know. Oh, don't lament. You came too soon. They were not my rules. You and they were so good, and it was I who was the fool. I will one day join you in the parade to say goodbye, kiss you at the rise like some mischievous child with all my warmth, a gift that says all this was worthwhile. Ever.
Great read, Rex. This is a wonderful write. Great take on the chosen prompt. I enjoy the rhyme and flow of this. I like how the end stanza is the second voice coming in, like the first two stanzas being the voice of the speaker who is feeling as if their love is not returned. Feels as if I don't know, like it really does speak on like lamenting on that unrequited love. I really like the lines. The nerve persists. architecture of survival. The memory rests on a heart whittled down to nerve, eating up again all those days you served up verbs. I like that. The serving up verbs, like you served up actions that spoke to me of love, and yet they didn't seem to you. The mystery of the thinnest thing might, I suppose, one day die. Until then, unrequited love. The hope held within the heart that perhaps one day this love will be returned. And then the second voice comes in. Oh, don't lament, you came too soon. They were not my rules. You and they were so good, and it was I who was the fool. I will one day join you in this parade to say goodbye, kiss you at the eyes like some mischievous child with all my warmth, a gift that says, all this was worthwhile. It feels like people who had two different expectations of what was going on. One who thought that it was a serious expression of love, and one who said, you know what, it's just not time for that. This was all about just having fun for me. An excellent write by Bard's Words. I'm so glad to see another write by him. He had written for The Art of Seduction, and now we get him for tonight too. So another wonderful write, and I look forward to reading more of him. I hope he continues to find inspirations in the contests and topic boards we put up. So very well done. And your thoughts, Rex?
Well, he bites that picture, so you get that the look of the lonely old guy looking at you straight on. It does have a noted kind of anger or bitter look on his face, and then you got the mirror. So you kind of hit that idea of there's an echo with that mirror used as the backdrop. So that first stanza, the thinnest thing and how it lives might seem a mystery, a veiled whisper, skin and bones behind a design of tension and anxiety. The nerve persists, the architecture of survival. The memory rests on the heart whittled down to nerve, eating up again all those days you served up verbs. The mystery of the thinnest thing might, I suppose, one day die. Until then, unrequited love, your return, a delusion feeds a hopeless happiness. Kind of the idea of feeding into the angle of waiting someday. Yes, I will have that, and it will come to me. So you got that angle of the old man plus the mirror offering up that echo reflection of what is. But he does, because that second stanza, I suppose, unrequited road, no such thing, for it returns, unlike the love I know. So there is that note of wanting something that cannot be fulfilled yet, but understands the note of that note of the unrequited road. It returns, unlike the love I know. So he's unhappy because he doesn't have the love he knows. That might walk on the angle of the sweetness within the book itself. And then that note, don't lament, you came too soon. They were not my rules. You and they were so good, and it was I who was the fool. And then even the back end, it says, hey, even with all that said and done, the journey was worthwhile.
Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. And what do we got next?
Paper Journeys by Kathy Cross.
All right. And now we're going to go into our paper airplane inspired poetry. So, Paper Journeys. Paper Journeys by Kathy Cross. 1,000 folded cranes, 1,000 paper planes. One learns the sky by devotion, one learns the sky by games. The cranes rise slowly and steady, wings a dainty art. The planes go looping loudly like a dancing dart. The cranes are secret dreams, hope held feather light. The planes are sparks of mayhem, mapping play to flight. But merging in the middle, we're still and chaos meet. Rainbow skies will carry journeys until they're called complete. And poem. And I did attach one painting into this as a header painting, which was done by Hani Naji, and people could use that as a prompt, or the prompt was simply just the topic of paper airplanes. And I gave Kathy the silver in this contest. And your thoughts, Rex?
She plays on a couple angles. That first stanza, 1,000 folded cranes, 1,000 paper planes. One learns the sky by devotion. One learns the sky by game. The idea of uh, kids flying paper planes and learning to fold paper into cranes. So you got that angle of childhood. Um, then that thought, the cranes fly slow and steady, wings of dainty art. The planes go looping loudly like a dancing dart. You're rolling into a little bit more modern age, um, where that first one might have been the idea of not just the children, but the thought of where man stood out as early, trying to offer up himself the note of the same thing that birds do, that note of flight. Uh, and that note of, what was it? The finishing it. By merging in the middle where still and chaos meet, rainbow skies will carry journeys until they're called complete. There's a duality in that one because you see birds taking off in flight like that, thousands or tens of thousands, and you get that note of the journey they need to make. And also, it bites in the fold that uh, planes, although not nearly as heavily bountiful as a huge flock of birds, there are that many up there doing the very same thing, offering up. It does walk a little because you hit on a plane, one plane and hit 300 or 400 people going one destination. So you roll into that idea of the journey's made, journey's complete, both ends.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment, Rex. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's another one with great rhyme and flow. Um, I like the nod to the thousand folded cranes, the giving nod to the idea of that if you can fold 1,000 origami cranes, you can then make a wish. Your wish will come true. And so I liked that. And I like how, because really, if you think about it, making paper airplanes is a form of origami, but it's like the same art form for two different purposes. Like the cranes, not only do you have the mythology, the lore of folding 1,000 of them to have your wish come true or your dream come true, but there's also the fact that it's more like about just allowing them to sit there, to be beautiful, to be calm. Like you don't make paper cranes in order to throw them, but paper airplanes you do. They're a toy. They're meant to be folded and creased and formed in such a way that you get the optimal amount of flight. They're meant to be thrown. They're meant to eventually be pulled down by gravity and crash. And so there's this idea that the paper cranes and paper planes each represent a different aspect of humanity, or even of the individual, and the idea that there's this balance found, this completeness found when the two sides come together. So just absolutely an amazing write by Kathy Cross, and very well done. All right, back to you, Rex.
All right. Paper airplanes by without a sturdy pilot, go in the direction of the wind, and often young love follows suit. We take little time in the folding of the paper, aerodynamics, material, do we even see? If the paper has writing of any value, something that says urgent, stamped in block letters, or more importantly in red capitals, fragile. But to heed such warnings takes the fun out of taking lifeless paper and creating something for our simple amusement. And Paul.
Great read there, Rex. What an amazing write by Guilty. This one I gave the gold in the contest. I love the way he went metaphorical. I will say I am more of a person who, for me, I mean, obviously this is one of those topics that it can be even literally right about making paper airplanes, but I was really interested in seeing where people took this metaphorically. And I love the consistency and tone in this. I like how he highlighted the words urgent and fragile. Wonderful imagery and metaphor, captivating lines. I I really like how, to me, this speaks on the fragility of love, and that how it is oftentimes sadly treated like a toy to be thrown to stroke and amuse our own egos. And honest to goodness, this really was one of those poems where, like, if I highlighted every piece that part of it I like, I just highlight the whole thing. But I did especially like where it says, or more importantly, in red capitals, fragile. But to heed such warnings takes the fun out, taking lifeless paper and creating something for our simple amusement. Wonderful lines and very well done. And Rex, you did a great read of that. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll agree on the angle that you brought up. I do like the thought, just the offering up the paper airplanes to begin with. We take little time in the folding of the paper, aerodynamics, material. We even see the writing of any value. I know that as kids, if you find a piece of paper, you'll create, and there is a note you do learn. You might not understand in the moment, but you do learn which angles and how to draw the paper together to make the play that you want in the moment. There are plenty of different ways. If you take it as a straight note of taking like an 8 by 11 sheet of paper and lengthwise folding it straight down the middle and then working from there, you get the pointed jet note, which flies quite lengthy. But if you take it the other way and you from the corner fold the flap down to the other edge, and then fold the corner that's left into the edge that's already back down on the other side, and then fold it in half. You get a different kind of airplane, which does aerodynamically, it'll do different things. So you find out quickly enough by experimenting with how you fold the paper to how the paper will react with the when it hits the air. So I like that note in it. And yes, taking lifeless paper and creating something for our simple amusement is that note of using one's imagination to create something that will offer up something to do in the moment that costs nothing, and hell, you can even use it to have the dogs chase it down. Might not last that long, but hey, who cares? It's a bit of fun.
Yep, yep, exactly. Great comment there, Rex. I am getting quite a bit of feedback from you, so if you don't mind, Rex, could you drop and come back, and then we'll move on to the next one? All right, so while we wait for Rex to come back, make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by Late Night Poets, hosts and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. And let me check, make sure. Okay, not quite yet. Not quite yet. But I see the poem he has put up is Carried by Balloon by Symph. And it goes like this. Shifting pearls, cooling air, above hidden is the sun, reflecting images so high, radiating echoes, battlefields, folded left, aimed right, sounds overwhelm shrapnel, sprinkling glittered rain, scraping skin, tears dry, stopping, starting, they fly. My paper airplanes falling, sting sensations, wounds, father's cries, touched soon, rolled letter, ribbon of blue, wearing red sheer scarf, airplane connection balloon, a letter for your father. Thank you, brave soldier. I love you, Dad. End poem. Ah, this is such a beautiful, heartfelt write. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you so much, Symph. I'm glad you were inspired to share this with us. Um, Rex, did you get an opportunity to read that poem, or do you need me to
Reading it
comment
now.
first? All right. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, this is beautiful. I love that ending. It just really touches my heart. Thank you, brave soldier. I love you, Dad. I like the narrative of this, how it feels like she's writing to her father, but it's also to everyone, every soldier who left children behind and the children that lost them, and the idea of the I like how she went different with this, because she mentions a paper airplanes falling, but it becomes like, hey, the paper airplane falls, but a balloon, well, while a balloon will eventually fall, it's more of a representation of floating off to heaven. Now, I don't actually recommend letting go of balloons and out to float into the air, because sadly, eventually they pop and eventually they fall, and then they become an endangerment to nature and to wildlife. So I really don't recommend doing that. But I have to say that I really appreciated the sentiment in this, the idea of wanting to have that connection with one whose life was sadly lost, one whose life was, sacrificed for our individual freedoms. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially liked the first and last stanza. So wonderful, right? And very well done. And your thoughts, Rex?
That's quite a bit because you got the balloon itself. That was once used in wartime as to see what was going on, but it was also used when airplanes were in effect flying on the battlefield too. So it's been used for uh, seeing what's going on, but also to float over certain positions and drop their own little bombs. And and that note of paper airplanes in here also hits on the idea of the early planes, the ones from the early days of the 20th century through World War One. They were they were wooden structures bound with kind of linen, paper thin. So you get that angle of paper airplane because it didn't take a whole lot. Once machine gun bullets started rolling through that, they got shredded pretty quickly because aluminum and metal did not come around until, well, I think about 15 years after World War One, or 10 years, you started the use of metal being incorporated, aluminum, lightweight materials instead of the linen uh, wrapped wings and fuselage. So that walks in here too. The paper airplanes falling, sting sensations, wounds, father cries, touched soon. And I do the back end. Rolled letter, ribbon of blue, wearing red sheer scarf. Another reference. A lot of the boys in the old biplanes and triplanes, they wore scarves, red, blue, whatever. It got kind of cold up there, so a little bit of protection along with their bombardier jackets. Um, a letter for you, Father. Thank you, brave soldier. I love you, Dad. Again, you said that. I know not just the father, but all those who had sacrificed there on the angle within air warfare.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Thank you for that information. Very cool. And I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. Welcome, Robbie. Glad you could join us.
Hello. I was planning just to listen at first, but I love the subject, and yeah, it's kind of neat that it mentioned the paper cranes. I just hung them up by the way I'm looking at them right now. I just hung them up at the window, and they have like little segments in between each of them that are glow in the dark. So yeah, kind of neat little neat little coincidence.
That is. I thought I was thinking the same thing when you mentioned in chat that you said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I just bought paper cranes today." I was like,
Mhm,
"Oh, wow, that is really cool."
mhm.
Um, and did you have any thoughts you'd like to share on Simp's right?
Yeah, it's very tender, right? And it's interesting for how it touches upon. Like, I'm always interested in how a technology started out, or an old technology that um, was around that isn't around anymore. And sometimes it gets revisited a little bit, like weather balloons and that sort of thing. So I like that it was. Yeah, like looking at that. It's a fascinating little look, or it's fascinating to look back at those kind of things. And the thing is with this talking about carried by balloon, it has the emotion, the emotive, like the tenderness in it. Thank you, brave soldier. I love you, Dad. And I think of like how yeah, it's kind of like what Rex was talking about, like they're very vulnerable at first. Like those, you're so vulnerable when you're in the first steps, especially in war, of a new technology, and you don't know if it's going to pan out, or how it's going to pan out, if it's going to work, and that. And I can I can only imagine, like, when you're in wartime and you're a soldier, you want to be protected, right? You want to be in, like, you want to have personal armor or a tank or something, but they were up in these balloons that had like nothing to them, right? And if I was a soldier, I'd be like, I do not like this, because you're in the midst of war, right? You're in the middle of the battlefield. You don't want something that could be shredded up in like 5 seconds flat. So this is really quite a fascinating look back, and I appreciated the poem for that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there. And back to you, Rex.
All right, Robbie, we're putting you to work. We got Paper Airplane by Tribalman.
All right. Okay. Paper airplanes. All right. Here we go. Paper airplane. No one shares my dream. Well, no one shares. My dream is with me. It is my dream. When you share an adventure with somebody, they walked it with you. They see what you see. You share something. It's meant to be shared, not put out there just to show others. So go ride your airplane. You have to go. To go. You're ready to fly. You see your job that takes in the sky. Fly like a bird about to take flight in your paper airplane. and poem. And the AN is pretty funny.
Great, great read there, Robbie. I have to say, this is such a great pre-write that fits so well with the topic. And he wrote this 11 years ago. That is awesome. Rex, your thoughts?
Well, it does hit on that idea of don't live through someone else's dreams, someone else's pictures, someone else's postings. Uh, if that's the way you can live vicariously through someone else's eyes, then you don't get to live. The idea is to actually take to the air, take you be the paper airplane and go there, and then post your own pictures of what you see, what where you are, and what is, as opposed to what isn't. Um, Fly like a bird about to take flight in your paper airplane. Don't waste your energy on living through someone else. Live through yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Well said there, Rex. And Robbie, you did a great read of that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Rex. You don't want to live vicariously. Um, it and I was just reading about this earlier today. The whole thing with or just coming across like it can be interesting what you should share and what you shouldn't share and that kind of thing. And that's the thing. Like I find it interesting that how people have different viewpoints. Sometimes they say, well, you shouldn't share your dreams or you shouldn't share that something that's coming up because it's like you want to see it if it pans out or not, that sort of thing. But in this case, it's focusing, I think, on shared journeys and how journeys um they mean more when you share them with somebody. And like it says, it's meant to be shared, not put out there just to show others. And that's the thing. When it comes from a place of ego, it doesn't really, it does not have the same sort of thing at all, like the same sort of value to it. It's just ego is gross. Individual ego like that is really vulgar. And yeah, the I think when especially when it's a more personal journey and you share that with somebody, like your dreams and aspirations with somebody that means something to you, then it really takes on another dimension.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I like how you bring up ego because really, if you think about it, ego is so fragile, and paper airplanes are fragile. And I like how this speaks on loneliness. You know, and in his AN he says, okay, so I was on a dating site. Who the women, I'm guessing I'm supposed to say the women who were flight attendants, their profiles were loaded with all these photos of themselves, always alone. That is how I wrote this. Yeah, so you definitely, even before reading the AN, you get that sense of loneliness. You get that sense, somebody who's, traveling all over the world and they've had all these wonderful experiences, but they're doing it alone, and it's like you guys were saying, these are experiences that one should be um sharing with somebody. And I think there's really thoughtful lines throughout. I like that this was a pre-write that fits so well with the topic, but I do especially like those end lines. Fly like a bird about to take flight in your paper airplane. So it's saying that the dreams that you're depending on, the life that you're depending on to bring you happiness and fulfillment is so very fragile and is eventually going to crash. So excellent, right? And very well done by Tribal Man. And back to you, Rex.
Got My Reflection by Macros. Folding hunger as lace-tied strings to wear upon your throat, such little things which sharpen wings too delicate to molt. A mirror keeps a tiny bird behind its film of frost, and fed to her each brutal word your mother had not lost. Through winter even soup grew loud as teaspoons echoed cruel, and risks as question marks aloud beyond the doctor's rule. So still you smiled with careful teeth, while ever those that stared, as though the body underneath were merely left unaired. You counted clavicles and knees as holy count their beads, each rib a pale apostrophe to some unspoken need. I waited once to tell you thus, when mouths can learn to heal, each name unsaid still bruises us, while bruises still turn real. So as they carried you downstairs, my shoes there was no time, while paramedics asked your name, somehow they answered mine. And poem.
Great read there, Rex. And what a strong emotive write by Macris. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, holy hell, the ending just rushed up on me. Because when it says, so as they carried you downstairs, my shoes, there was no time when paramedics asked your name. Somehow they answered mine. And that made me think of my dissociation, or like when in the past when I had bad epilepsy, my epilepsy was a lot worse, and they would ask me all the questions, and sometimes I was just not there, and and so that kind of rushed up on me all of a sudden out of the blue. This had yeah, a lot of is a I find that Macris has a very unique style, and it's his poems are the type that you like. You have to sit with them for a little bit, but you want to at the same time. It's like there's some poets where you have to sit with their poetry, but the poetry is an abstruse style, and you feel like it can be a bit of a labor, or like you feel like the poet is like almost just writing for themselves. But like Macris has a lot going on in their poetry, but it's a joy to unfold it. That unintended pun, but it works. Folding, unfolding. Um,
Yes,
yeah, I
it
like where
does.
we poets make puns even when we don't mean to. I like this. A mirror keeps a tiny bird behind its film of frost. Oh, I love that. I like to write like that too, where you have like these abstract images that the kind of I like to say they mean nothing and everything at the same time. And like I have a couplet that says um and I wait for her in the shadow of eternity's smile. And like when I read that even to myself, it's like it doesn't mean anything really, but it has an emotive meaning that means like a whole world of meaning. I kind of feel that when I see a mirror keeps a tiny bird. And but there's delicacy here and brutalness each as well. Behind like it mentions the tiny bird behind the film, uh, and fed to her each brutal word your mother had not lost. And then it has the winter here, and in the winters it tends to be like a cruel time. Uh, I felt like a visceral sort of a thing with this because it says it counted clavicles and knees as holy count their beads, and so it feels this poem definitely feels like it has beauty and like kind of visceral reality at the same time. It's like you're confronting the realities of life, the almost vicious ones sometimes, but in a beautiful world, and that's an interesting and very I think beautiful sort of a paradox to embrace.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment, Robbie. And Rex, you did a wonderful read of that. Your thoughts?
Well, it's got an easy rhythm and flow to it. but there's some underlying textuality to this. It is it is it is beautiful. It's emotional, but there's also notes of cruel indignation that walks within this as well. Then that Amira keeps a tiny bird behind his film of frost and fed to her each brutal word your mother had not lost. There's a repetition in that of what once was voiced. So I get the feeling that the idea of that note of title, my reflection, have I become my mother's daughter as she has now that she has died? Am I now her? Does it, will I repeat the same that she did to me, so to speak? That note of through winter, even shoot grew loud as teaspoons echoed cruel, and riskless question marks allowed beyond the doctor's rule. Um, Teaspoons, I remember that notes of, you can hit that idea of teaspoons making noise, but also I remember when mothers would use a wooden spoon to make a point because it offers up a note of clarity really quick when it strikes the skin. That note of clavicles, knees, and each rib a pale apostrophe to some unspoken need kind of hits at the idea of punishment, of going hungry. Uh, and then that second last stanza. I waited once to tell you thus, when mouths can learn to heal. Each name unsaid still bruises us, while bruises still turn real. There's a repetitive note to there, the cruelty being still espoused, yet it took this long to be able to heal enough to be able to express herself. And here we go in the back end. So as they carried you downstairs, my shoes, there was no time. While paramedics asked your name, somehow they answered mine. It's kind of comes right back to that thing, my reflection. So again, that question of note. Ooh, which road do I tally down now? Do I walk that note of maybe uh, remembering the cruelty, or do I offload all that baggage because it is finally put to rest, so to speak?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. Yeah, this is such powerful emotive lines. It does have wonderful rhyme and flow, amazing imagery and metaphors. It is raw and gritty and beautifully dark. It does take a look at the idea of the pain and grief felt when looking back at trauma caused to mind and body, the answering of questions that went unanswered for so long. I really felt like it was the first stanza that connected so well with the topic paper airplanes, folding hunger as lace tied strings to wear upon your throat, such little things with sharpened wings, too delicate to mold. But there was some strong lines throughout and beautifully written and very well done. This has been a great show tonight, an amazing lineup of poetry. We will have, I believe, three or so. Yes, we will have three carryovers. We will have Monarch Soul, Peter Solway, and Rick Six. Thank you, as always, Rex, for being an amazing co-host. Thank you, Robbie, for calling in. Thank you to Monty G for hanging on the board. Thank you to Fill My Eyes for all she does. Thank you to everyone who's listening now or will be listening later. We truly appreciate you all. And of course, thank you to everyone who provides rights for the shows. Please make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by late night poets, hosts, and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. There's no later show tonight. Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, you can join Fill My Eyes and Intimitus Rex for open poetry. Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, you can join Gray Eye Smith for Bad Company. And Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, you can join Intimitus Rex. Yes. sorry, for rhythm and rhyme. And Rex, what do you have happening for rhythm and rhyme this week?
From the ladies, Jean had a file folder of goodies from various ladies. So I've got I think 9 or 10 musical pieces from let's see, we got a few 5 or 6 ladies. Naomi's in there, Monarch, Argo, uh, who else we got?
Way Down Upon Joy and
Yeah,
Lol.
Way Down Upon Joy and Lol. Yes,
Yes, yes, awesome. Well, I hope people are inspired by those, because I'm truly looking forward to that show. And have a wonderful night, everyone. Have a wonderful night, Robbie and Rex.
good night, people.